Degenerates. They'll buy just about anything.
Wow, you're in 2023 and you're still able to breathe. That's impressive. And with war raging in Europe, earthquakes and pandemics all over the world, I'll be telling you why would you want to play Skyrim right now. Skyrim, Skyrim, Skyrim. Just one word, yet so many memories. And so many words have been already said about it. Maybe too many. Nonetheless, this game might seem as the best game ever when you play it for the first time, yet it wasn't designed to be played just once. The process of replaying Skyrim after a few walkthroughs could be compared with playing with your Willy for the third time in a row. Pretty dull. If you want to make a great game, you need to put an emphasis on something, be it story, quests, game mechanics, progression, or cards with naked women. Skyrim looks like it has everything aside the latter, yet people would make 20 hours analysis of the game with most of it being critique after 11 years if it would be that great. With an understanding that any critique that could have been said about this game is already said, I'd like to tell you how to make one of the many sides of Skyrim shine so bright that the shallowness of the other ones would be of no issue whatsoever. And this video would be a justification for my autistic obsession with this game for all of these years. So, what is actually Requiem? I will begin from very afar and set a few questions first. The first one would be, what is an RPG? The second one, how to avoid taxes and alimonies? Is Skyrim actually an RPG? RPG is a role-playing game where you guess it, you can play a role of someone you wanna be. In my opinion, the genre nowadays has melted into an alloy of many different types of games, but the base of an RPG is still the same. To play a role. The genre was completely established in 90s, so no wonder that till now we have lots of new games which are carrying the RPG insignia and are being frowned upon by so-called old fags. Is Witcher 3 an RPG? Hell nah, you play as Geralt, which could be a jerk or a decent man, yet he still is a witcher. And this sounds kinda like a good point, but at the same time we have another game, which stays as a pillar of the RPG genre, Planescape Torment, where you can be a dumb fuck sword-banging nameless one, or a wise and classy fireballing nameless one, yet you're still a nameless one. And at the end of the day, you'll meet the same turbulences and reach the same goal, which was destined to you by the fate and game developers. We could think about Fallout as an example as well, where you can even change your name and appearance. In headcanon, of course. You can be a fat-ass 6-year-old wall dweller who dealt with troubles with his fists on, or a weak charismatic tussie who would resolve conflicts with wits, and yet you're still the same wall dweller with the same goals and the same ending cutscene nonetheless. So back to the question. 3 games, only 2 of them would be considered 100% RPGs, and yet in 3 of them you can do practically the same thing. Solve problems in different ways and get different outcomes. Although in Planescape you'll see the same ending scene whatever you do, and in Fallout fate of your character will be the same, yet the slides about towns and characters will be different. But who cares, cause only certain decisions would remain canon, because we have Fallout 2 with the references to the first game. And if you somehow still bear with me, you might ask yourself, and what the fuck is he trying to say? Well, the thing I'm trying to say is, firstly, if Witcher is not an RPG, the same goes for Planescape and Fallout. The second is, in my opinion, and on the base of already mentioned, to name something an RPG you don't have to have a possibility to play a role of anyone you want. You just need to have a few possibilities to influence and interact with the quest, plus a few distinct ways to play the game. Although you are a Witcher, you can be a spellcasting yuppie Witcher which just throws away money to avoid inconveniences when it's possible, or you can be a raging greedy toxic Witcher who wouldn't give a piece of bread to the starving kids and would sell his own daughter. And what do we have in Skyrim? Well, you can say to Ostrid, fuck off and burn the whole sanctuary of Dark Brotherhood, or, well, you can withstand the charms of this beautiful woman and sell her to some random people from another country. You can also just ignore some quest lines in case they don't really line up with your playstyle. Why the hell would an orc berserker become an archmage? Stupid, ain't it? Yet this is still a possibility and you can still become one. No damn boundaries on you, and feels so stupid to become a fucking archmage with a great sword or character, yet I'm still doing it because I can't just say no to myself. Why would I say no to a chunk of content which isn't putting any boundaries on me? And this is the biggest problem with Skyrim to be called an RPG. You can just be everything at once and there's nothing to stop you. A choice in an RPG should be made, and in case of the choice to do or not to do a quest line, it's better to be backed by the gameplay choices that you've made during your playthrough. Should you do a Mage's College quest line? Well, if you've been maxing out your two-handed weapons the whole time, the answer should most likely be no, or at least it should be a giant pain in the ass to do. And exactly this is the first thing that Requiem makes right. It puts goddamn boundaries. Of course, it's not as explicit as like saying that you've picked the wrong class at the beginning, so this quest line isn't available to you. Nah, here everything is much more complicated. The core of the quest in the game stays the same. You need to cast a spell in order to get into the Mages Guild. Can I cast it with my Orc Berserker? In the vanilla game, although in the spell level would be around Adept, you do. In Requiem, hell nah, because to cast the spell of this level, you had to put a big amount of effort into leveling this branch of magic. So what does it mean? Firstly, a complete leveling system overhaul, which kind of comes back to the Morrowind roots. With any skill below 20 and no perks invested, you'll be as effective as eating a jello dinosaur after 10 years of crack addiction. From now on, you won't be even able to stay in heavy armor if you haven't put any perks into wearing properly, for example. With heavy armor on your back, you really are a mountain which can take crazy amount of damage. The drawback will be, however, the much higher cost of stamina and less mobility. And stamina means a lot with this mod. You won't be able to spam heavy attacks after your stamina bar was depleted, your casting abilities on low stamina are cut in half, and sneak isn't that effective if you just ran a marathon from Riverwood to Whiterun. If you don't have any potions in case your stamina ran out, you're a dead man. Not to mention that the damage threshold of you and most of your opponents has been severely cut, yet the damage that you all inflict has been doubled, so being eaten by a pack of wolves is just a regular Tuesday. And the second big change, no auto-leveling. Each area has its own levels, so getting into the Bleak Falls Barrow on level 3 would be as fruitful as coming to Poland dressed as a fanboy. And what I think really beautiful about it is that by making gameplay more sense, many illogical parts of the quests have gotten on their places. Of course, you can completely remake all ways of interactions with secondary quests, but from now on it's more fair. Yes, of course, you can be a Dark Brotherhood assassin just like that, yet if you haven't invested any points into stealth, you'll be more like Gogron Grobalmog type of assassin.
So I said to her, "No, I am a messenger of death." You should have seen the look on her face. Anyway, she won't be seeing age 6.
Which is a role in the society as well, but not the one which was meant for a discreet assassin. Same for the Thieves Guild. Requirements to your sneak because of the smarter NPC AI have been doubled, so even if you manage to complete their quests, you'll be consecutively reminded how garbage you are.
Of course he wasn't, you stupid whore.
Skyrim wasn't meant to hide chunks of content from any playstyle.
But the best ones for me are actually where all of that was far more open-ended. The how I am going to accomplish this task is completely up to me, and I'm going to find some ingenious solution. A silly
And this mod can't really change it, but because of the more hardcore approach, it makes to play the game in an unintended way so painful that a person would much rather make a new playthrough with the character who is more suited for the job, or just leave the quest and come back when the character is at least a little better prepared for it. This mod has completely restored the RPG part of Skyrim, which in vanilla was clumsy and outright dumb. The other thing that this game gained from the spike of difficulty is, however weird it may sound, more lore authenticity. From now on, each battle, for example with a dragon at least till level 40, would feel like a very thought out and epic experience. A battle with a fearsome creature whose soul is a rare commodity which you would think a few times before investing into a certain shout. You would really feel like it was an achievement to kill one of those fuckers. The mod makers made it not only by making dragons damage sponges with what legendary difficulty dealt just fine, but making them damage sponges with lethal amount of damage and crazy resistances to magic. It of course touched every major battle, making them a real challenge where the fights with famous names wouldn't feel like you just poked another Draugr. The more developed skill and damage logic gave us much more versatile options of planning before engaging into a fight. You wouldn't go into a crypt with no silver weapon or appropriate magic. The alchemy takes a second breath as well, because now it would be completely stupid not to smear your blade with even the first level poison, which became many times more potent, so all of the plants and shrooms in the area became something to be on a constant lookout. And lastly, there won't be a case where you massacre the whole fort just to find a few coins and a tomato in a great chest. From now on, there is a possibility to find almost anything anywhere, because chests have a stock of randomized loot which doesn't really have trash in its roster. And the rewards for killing dragons and wiping out banding caps with the mod on finally begin to make sense. There won't be an occasion where you used potions and arrows and total sum of 200 septims to get 100 as a reward. There are of course many other things like cosmetic changes, new armor, weapon, reduced carrying capacity, more realistic diseases, etc, etc. And to sum everything up, at the end of the day we got a much better game with much more depth, more rewarding gameplay, more logic and progression over all things. But is it all butterflies and apple pies with it? Well, it depends on how masochistic of a person you are. With more realism comes, as anticipated, more fucking realism. It's pretty damn realistic that you can hit up only one shot with an arrow if you're covered in a fucking wool. It's realistic that you wouldn't really be able to move properly if you carry 200-pound chess piece on your body. And it would be really damn hard to kill a fucking giant fire-spitting lizard or a flying lightning blazing corpse in real life. In any case, if you're up to the challenge, be my guest. Requiem is really your cup of tea, and most likely, as I am, you wouldn't even really be able to play vanilla Skyrim after modding the fuck out of it on a base of Requiem. But if constant reloading and dying even from a fucking mud crab isn't something that you want to sacrifice your never returning precious time on, and you don't enjoy asphyxiation while playing with your schlong, then why the fuck do you even watch this shit? Go beat your wife or something.
Advise the Jarl on Be careful! Ugh!